Good evening, guys. Welcome to episode number 7 of 3 Men on the Record.
Take two.
I am Sean. We are joined with Scott Echo Waves, Jake, the fifth member of the Rentals, and we have a guest on today, Mr. Joe Williamson.
Good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing? Thank
And
you for joining us.
Yo, Joe Willie.
so, Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
I'm asking myself that question right now. My name is, like I said, my name is Joe. I'm from South Georgia, born and raised in South Georgia, and got to know Scott and Sean and Jake through the Whatnot app and became friends with the three of them, or at least I claim they're my friends. I don't know what they call me, but I really enjoyed the 3 men on the record. Watched most of all the episodes and was very honored and that they asked me to be a what is this? Am I a participant or am I a what am I on here? A guest? Is that
You're
what
a
you call
3 men on the record brother.
brother?
You were a
Okay.
brother.
Or is this some kind of ill treatment against me?
It could be that. Could be that too.
Could be a roast and you don't know it.
All right, so we live now.
No,
I'm watching it live on here too.
I'm seeing it
I
live.
show live on my end.
They have to exit out of that one and come back in. That's why.
kill the browser and come back in.
So they have to re-find us, but they can watch the beginning on.
There's 7 people. Like, I mean, she's in the chat. And there's 7 people in there, and we're not.
But is that the live one or the previous one?
I'm on another one now, and it's showing live.
I am not, but I trust both of you.
So now we have 2 people in the room. So we need to see if we get those other people over to this one. Tell them to exit out and find the new live one. So yeah, we having some technical difficulties. We started the show and it didn't quite start the right way. So we restarted it. So hopefully you guys will join us. And if you missed anything, you can stop back at the beginning. Do I have any questions? Do you guys have any questions for Joe?
Yeah, you know what, Joe? Hey, here's a question for you.
All right, what's the question?
Because I knew, you and I obviously we bonded from our love of blues and our love for Freddie King, who is my favorite bluesman. But I have never asked you,
Here we go. We got someone in.
what got you into blues in the first place? What album turned you on to the world of blues?
Well, to be honest with you, South Georgia, growing up, I was born in '81 and I didn't really care much for '80s music from the get-go. But around this area, Travis Tritt was big, George Strait, Garth Brooks, John Michael Montgomery. You hear all these names, and I was drawn more to the Allman Brothers. And so I started listening to the Allman Brothers. Had a lot of roots here where I live. They played locally on St. Simon's Island. They played, like I was telling y'all before the show started, graduation parties here. So I was kind of drawn to them and Dwayne Allman, really drawn to his guitar playing, and got to know, through Dwayne, got drawn into B.B. King, Albert King, Freddie King, John Lee Hooker. And that authentic, raw sound is what I was more after than over the 80s synthesizer sound. Not there's anything wrong with that, but it's just not my style of music. So that's really how I got drawn into the blues, and it just kind of, I don't want to say snowball, but that I just went that direction. I'm drawn to that sound, and I'm always looking for an artist, either solo or band, that has that blues rock sound. And I don't really like a lot of horns. I like guitar, harmonica, piano, and like the Allman Brothers had keyboards, and Tedeschi trucks, a lot of percussion. Even sometimes Tedeschi trucks is a little bit too much for me. I like the Delta blues.
Yeah.
I do like the Chicago blues. There is some of it, but sometimes they have too many horns involved, and it just kind of, I don't want to say I don't want to listen to it, but I wish that there was less of that and more of the primitive sound of the Delta or Piedmont blues.
So I'm guessing, Joe, you're not a fan of "Midnight in Harlem" by Tedeschi Trucks. I love that song. That's my favorite. One of my.
Well,
favorite
I
blues
do.
songs.
Like I said, I do like Tedeschi Trucks because he has an Allman Brothers
Yeah.
with Derek Trucks. He has an Allman Brothers, history there. He's in the Hall of Fame with the Allman Brothers, and Suzanne Tedeschi is amazing. Probably to me, modern day. I know Bonnie's still with us, but modern day Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah.
I think, and you've kind of rekindled my interest in blues, and I've spent some more time and listening to it, and I want to thank you for that. That's why if you come on, if you a lot of it we sell and whatnot, and we see a lot of new music from or old music we're not familiar with from certain sellers. They have a genre they like, and we learn from them. And Joe really got me into the blues. I mean, I listened to it briefly, but I never was really into it or
Right.
entertain it as much as I do now. I make sure I look for it. I listen to it.
And I grew up in the 90s, so I mean, I listened to all the 90s artists, Nirvana, all the grunge, all the alternative music, but I was more drawn to the blues, because I heard it on the radio, because I didn't have streaming back then. We had to listen to the radio, or for me, my house, you were buying it on CD. So,
Yeah.
so I listened to all the rock and roll and I listened to all that stuff, but I was drawn more towards the blues and, country. I listen to a lot of country music here.
And also, but isn't regionally some types genres are easier to find. Like I'm sure
Yeah.
the further south you go, country and even blues.
I don't see a lot of blues where I live. I mean, I've had most of the blues I've had to travel for, or I've gotten online. I don't see a lot of, which there's not a lot of records in my hometown, period. Anyhow, so
Yeah, because my record store, the blues section is about this big.
yeah, my local has had the same probably 6 records for the past year and a half now.
Well, it makes it easy to pick if you only have to listen to 6.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I'm the one buying the blues records in there. Everybody else is going after the rock and everything else. So
Yeah,
did we ever figure out if we're live or not?
we're live, and
We
it's
are, yeah.
just everyone that was in the old chat,
Okay,
and they're
good,
trying to figure out what they need to do to get over here.
good deal.
We got 11 people in here now, so
yeah,
they're finding
we're
out.
moving on
Stacy's
up. There's Thomas
Yeah, Thomas.
There's the bomb.
of Gonzo Shenanigans
Brother!
Fan Club,
Brother.
Garner. So if you want to join the Gonzo Fan Club, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to
And $10.
and $10.
I need it, guys.
Did you get a
Alright.
ring
Give
decoder?
all of
Do
it.
you get like a
Listen.
ring decoder and you get secret messages and everything?
No, Joe, you
Look, hey,
you
man.
basically get misery. I mean, that's
Misery?
what you know.
Look,
Comes in a little jar.
give me a cool 10 or a light running 20. That'll go a long way.
I'd rather just admire you from afar. I don't want to be a part of your fan club.
Oh, and there's you guys see there's someone in the room. You see that name right there?
Yep.
The wifey is in the room. I gotta behave.
Executive producers watching live here in chat. All right.
And she's also has found Jason Isbell, and we need to get her a second CD because she's playing this one. She's actually wearing out a CD. Are you guest one night? I sat and listened for an hour. Oh yeah, so yeah, Tom, Joe. He's on Sunday and he yells at everyone to talk.
Yeah,
to
I haven't done a Whatnot show in probably, I think, over a month now.
Oh, we need you back.
I've been busy.
Okay, needs the pictures. So
Trying to get my chat back over here.
So this is the next point where we talk about new releases and new releases that are coming out and new things that we've gotten. If in the chat, if there's anything new you got, just type it in the chat so we can see what you've gotten. So you guys got anything new this week?
Yeah. You want to see what I got?
Yeah, what do you get?
I got a gorgeous clock.
Oh,
Compliments of my brother.
You don't see that album very often.
You do
yeah.
not.
Picture disc anyway.
Look at this awesome picture disc of Herb Alpert.
That's so
whipped
cool.
cream and
Yeah,
other
that's
delights. Look
perfect.
how great! Look at this clock, man. Iconic
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Those of you that if you're not
It's actually a really good album.
in there
People look
going
at it and
in
go,
on Sunday shows on whatnot, you got to go and give Thomas Bum a follow because this is just one of the the great clocks that he's got. He's got a ton of them, and I just saw this in his show, and the green just popped
Yeah,
out.
it's
But
nice.
it's just so iconic, man. Look how awesome that is.
And Scott got the meatloaf and an undisclosed one in case one of the grandchildren was listening.
Oh, they definitely are watching me.
You never know. You never know. Joe, do you get anything new this week?
I did. I got quite a few things. Well, I say this week in the past few weeks.
That's fine.
Doug Psalm, the Sir Douglas Quintet.
Yeah, not
kind of
familiar with that one.
That looked like Steven Stills to me in the back.
Yeah, this is kind of a Texas. I'm trying to think of who he reminds me
Like,
of.
I should know who he is.
Oh, he's a fantastic. It's a fantastic
No
group,
clue.
and their albums are hard to come by. I was drawn to the cover because I didn't really know because this is in a language to me. His name's Doug Psalm, but this is one of those Texicano names, Doug Saldana. I have no idea, but she's hugging you, but she's looking at me is the song that drew me to this album, and fantastic singer songwriter, kind of in the vein of Ry Cooder, great guitarist and singer songwriter. So this is one of them. One of the
And if you don't know Joe, sometimes the art of the cover that draws him in, and he'll buy a record just based on the cover.
There's a lot.
It's a kind of a cool adventure that you can take with vinyl. Sometimes there's interesting stuff that you didn't know even existed, and then you find a new artist you like.
Yeah.
I picked this up from Brandon down in Jacksonville.
Nice.
I bought it for the cover. This is on Ember. It's a UK label, but this is some of the earliest John Lee Hooker audio that I've ever heard. It's not very good sounding. It's not from 1948 in the back of a record store in Detroit.
Wow.
And you can really tell that he's very young. But I'm probably going to either get this printed professionally or just frame the cover because it's not a record that I would normally just listen to.
Yeah.
So,
there's some amazing.
But it's nostalgia, right?
Well, there's so much blues out there that's so rare that there might be only 145 in existence.
oh yeah.
And because they didn't make a lot of them, and they just over time kind of get destroyed. And there's actually I can't remember the guy's name, but there's certain blues album that he's looking for. He knows it sort of existed, and he has like a reward for like $100,000 or some crazy amount if you can find this blues record, even if it's like a half a record. He wants it.
What about these guys? You ever heard of the Junkyard Angels?
No.
This is a UK blues backing band, and they would back
Hey,
Muddy
Jim.
Waters, Howlin' Wolf when they went over to the UK. And they have a few. I think they have a few albums. Very interesting. I haven't listened to this whole thing yet. I've listened about part of one side, but got a really good sound.
Well, Joe, when you pull something like that out, if we get off, if we stay to the main roads, we know that main road blues. You get off on the side roads, we're lost. That's why we called you in.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
On the main roads.
But I love the way you find something that looks interesting and he just buys it, and then
We're on an overgrown path that hasn't been walked in years.
So when you're in a local record store, guys, and you see something that looks a little odd, maybe you pick it up.
Well, and that's the thing.
What I love about Joe. I relate to that. Like, how many of us in here walked in, no idea what the heck we're gonna buy, and you're just going through something, and you see a cover, and you're like, you know what? Hey, why not? It looks interesting.
Like
I'll
my
give it
Jimmy
a go,
record I bought.
and it's badass. That's how you find some of the best stuff.
Right, and that's what I'm looking for. A lot of times I'm not I'll skip through the stuff that I know. I'll skip through Pink Floyd, because I already have most of the ones I want. I'm looking for something that stands out, and I'll grab that.
Sure.
Then when I get done to go buy it, I'm not even looking up the prices. I'm trying to figure out, okay, who's in the band that I even recognize, and if I don't recognize them, then I'm trying to figure out, is there anything adjacent to this that I can probably kind of get an idea who it is? Because to me, it gives me a rush of trying to find something. Hey, is it on Spotify? If it's not on Spotify, that's a good thing to me because it's probably never heard it before, and that's what
Yeah.
I'm after. That's what I'm after. I'm after something I've never heard before,
which is pretty cool. And so I've been waiting for these records for I pre-ordered them April, May, and the company messed up my order, so I didn't get anything. So I had to buy them elsewhere. This is the 50th anniversary of Jaws. This is the blue and red splatter vinyl. Then I also got, and I will be doing a video. I'm still waiting for 2 more titles for Mondo for Jaws, but this is the liquid filled Jaws record. This one is the numbered one. They are releasing it again in the end of November that are not numbered, but this is the numbered version of that. So
Sean, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What happened if Pippet survived?
Well, then nothing other than the guy would have had his dog. I don't know.
Could have changed the entire course of the movie.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would matter really, but because Gonzo is obsessed with Pippet. So I got a couple other ones. Thanks via Gonzo. I want to thank him for these. But we have Japanese press, Warren Zevon Stand in the Fire, white label promo. Doesn't have the Obi, but that we'll search for that later on.
We'll find it.
So we got that white label promo. Then we have. So I'm missing now is the Envoy and Bad Luck Streak and Dance School on the Japanese vinyl. So there we go. We got that. Anything? And then we're gonna talk about some new stuff. We got big news with some audiophile records coming out. Atlantic is partnering with Analog Productions and Acoustic Sounds, and they're going to be coming out with some audiophile titles. Most of the Genesis catalog will be. Although did we miss Scott on his new stuff?
It's fine. Go ahead.
Right. Sorry. So you're going to have the whole, pretty much most of the Genesis and Phil Collins catalog being released on basically audiophile pressings. Some will be 45 speed, 2LP 45, 75. They basically call it 75 for 75. 75 vinyl releases from Atlantic Records. Most of them are going to be, I guess, from the analog tapes, if they were available at that time. With mastering by Benny Grunman, Ryan Smith, Kevin Gray. So I think that's
named Bernie
Grunman. So you're going to get a lot of different things. There's definitely Genesis is Nursery Crime, Foxtrot, Song England by the Pound, Lamb Lies on Broadway, Trick of the Tail, Abacab, and Phil Collins. You got a bunch of John Coltrane. There's like 7 Coltrane records. You got some early Ray Charles. Yes is getting a bunch of represses. Otis Redding is getting Otis Redding Sings Soul, Otis Redding's Dictionary of Soul, the Soul and Dock of the Bay albums are going to be getting that. Foreigner's got a few. Crosby, Stills,
Sings Soul is a great album.
Yeah. Dr. John is going to get 3 of those. Stone Temple Pilots. You got Core, Purple, and then it says plus more. So who knows what those extra ones will be. So if you're into the audio quality stuff and you want a good sounding record, it sounds like a great thing that's coming up. We also have Allison Change.
Filet.
We also have Allison Change. The 3 Dog is finally getting its repress. So no more worrying about buying a bootleg. You can buy the real thing. Unfortunately, online on their website, their cool colored vinyl is sold out, but I'm sure there's going to be many different colors. I know that I think Walmart has a pretty cool colored version of it. Unless you want to buy the box, there's a deluxe box on the website with this purple vinyl and yellow. But the 3 Dog is finally coming out. Finally. No more bootlegs. You can buy the real thing.
That's awesome. I wanted to respond to Janet's question and kind of with Desert Moon. I think We Can't Dance is highly, highly underrated. It doesn't get the love it deserves. So I like the mention, y'all.
What else? Also, Christopher Cross has a singles collection that just is coming out this weekend. This week, tomorrow, I think. It's a 2 LP. It's like the yellow and purple vinyl. I think it's pretty cool. I think he was on Kimmel the other night performing a song, "Sailing." I think. So check that out. Well, anything else, guys? That's coming out. Oh yeah, that one. Counting Crows, Recovering the Satellites, is also getting its reissue. So you don't want to miss that. And
from tape.
And yeah, it's from an analog source. What's that version from digital?
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it was 2016.
So yeah, you're gonna get a nice sounding record there. Hopefully, get your pre-orders in. So you get, especially if you're looking for certain colors. If you go to the artist website, sometimes, if you're lucky enough, you might be able to get those limited editions. But a lot of times, by the time we find out about them, they're already gone on their website.
It's about time they've done that three-legged dog.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend of mine.
I will say this: I have the unofficial, and it still sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, but get a good.
Get that money going to the artist where it should go.
Yeah,
they're not making
all 10 cents that goes to the artist.
Yeah, and the streaming, they're getting a penny on everything.
I had a friend of mine that had a three-legged dog. It's like a miracle. I don't understand how the thing could stand up and run, but it
I know, right? We had a buddy that had one as well. His name was PD. He never could come up with a name. He called him Puppy Dog, and he just called him PD. When he lost his leg, they changed it to 3D.
You can get the deluxe for 300.
He was a cool dog, man.
It has the same colored vinyl. The only time I saw a three-legged dog was 3 a.m. on Duval Street at the Littlest Bar in Key West. The dog and the guy was in the wheelchair, and the dog had 3 legs. And that's the only dog I remember having 3 legs.
You almost got a song with all that.
And that was an interesting night. So, yeah. All I know is the bartender, his name was Jason. He got fired because he forgot to close the bar. But he was drinking Sailor Jerry's, so that happens.
I don't know what it was, and maybe it was the missing leg, but it seemed like he could run faster than a 4-legged dog, the little 3-legged dog.
Well, they
overcompensate.
Prove they got something to prove.
They adapt.
They have to. All right, so we're at the next part where we go over our essential records that we think you should have in your collection.
Before we do that, Sean.
Yes,
before
sir.
we do that, real quick, Scott, did you want to present your new buys real fast?
Show us the.
I actually want to see what he's got.
Push over just push over Scott like this.
I didn't do it on purpose. I missed it. I got so caught up with Joe's answers that I forgot mine.
I'm not offended. I'll get to talk plenty tonight. Yeah. So,
BC Vinyl said hi.
I'm going to do some love to the CD here. I got the new Florence and the Machine CD.
Nice.
And I got the new Brandy Carlisle CD. And what I do is I buy the CD on a lot of releases, and if it's great, I'll go out and get the vinyl. And then, this one, I had one come in about 2 months ago, and I made the decision to sell it. And since then, about every time I see that record, I was like, wish I wouldn't have done that. So I came across it. The good news, how things works out, even cheaper this time. And I said, this one, I'm keeping. Nice. So Crime of the Century, Supertramp, Mo-Fi, this is an outstanding pressing of this record.
And also, I got one more thing I got. I got a bootleg of Warren Zevon. Well, it's not a bootleg. It was a radio show.
Scott, were you even
And I'll be mentioning one of the songs later on in my picks. Not by Warren Zevon, but there's a song on here that he sings that I didn't expect him. Well, there's 2 songs I didn't expect him to sing. And one of them we'll talk about later.
Scott, were you done showing what you picked up?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, guys, I don't know if you heard, over the weekend I went to Freehold, New Jersey, and that's the birthplace of Bruce Springsteen. And I went to his home and got a picture taken in front of it. It was his childhood home, but I got a picture. And then we went to his favorite restaurant, hoping to run into Bruce. We didn't run into Bruce Springsteen, but apparently 3 days later, Bruce shows up at that restaurant, and we missed him by 3 days. So I don't know what you guys did this weekend, but I was talking late. Yeah. So yeah, he went to Federici's, and if you ever need great pizza or great chicken parm, Federici's and Freehold, and you might run into Bruce Springsteen if you go on the right day. That's my almost close brushness to fame right there. All right, so this is where we get to we go over the top, well, some of the 500 albums that we think. Each one of us has 3 tonight. Since we have a guest, we all have 3 each. And we'll let Joe go lead off first on his albums.
All right.
Well, I find my cheat sheet on mine.
A cheat sheet. Yeah, I'm very excited about being on here tonight. And when Scott sent me a message originally about it, he was saying he wanted me to have some blues. They would love for me to share some blues albums that were accessible to the audience. And immediately I have my 3. And the 3 that I picked are all in print and all can be purchased for less than $40, depending on where you buy it at, tax and everything else. And all are AAA. So all analog source, all analog remaster, all put straight to vinyl. And the first is by one of my favorite blues artists of all time. And his nickname is the Velvet Bulldozer. 6'4",
Velvet Bulldozer.
6'4", 250 plus pounds. And his name is Albert King. Born under a bad sign. And this is a craft reissue. I think this came out 2023. I had an original copy of this, got rid of it, and bought like 10 other records. And this sounds better than the original copy that I had. It's originally on Stax. And what Stax is known for is that soulful sound, blues sound, but also they put horns in it. And unfortunately, I think if they took some of the horns out of this album, I would like it even more. But Albert, not only being a big man, he had a big sound not only with his voice, but what was unique about Albert was that he was a left-handed guitar player, or he was left-handed, and he didn't have a left-handed guitar, so he would play a right-handed guitar upside down with the strings strung upside down. And he was ranked, I think, 22nd on Rolling Stone's 250 greatest guitarists of all time. And one of the unique quotes that I read about him in a book, and I was trying to remember what the book, the title of the book, and yes, I do read. It says that King embodied 2 of guitardom's most sacred tenets. What you don't play counts as much as what you do play. And speed can be learned, but feeling must come from within. Albert could slice through a listener's soul with a single screaming note and play a gut-wrenching, awe-inspiring 10-minute solo without venturing past the 12th fret. I mean, he was an amazing guitarist, but also he had a great voice, much like, to me, in the same vein as B.B. King, but he was more, to me, Albert was more soulful. He was sparse in his playing on the guitar with the notes, but he was very kind of like Buddy Guy. I mean, he poured every ounce of sound out of each note. And that's what I really, really enjoyed about, or really like about Albert King, because he's one of, like I say, he's one of my favorite. And what's unique was Don Nix, who wrote the, well, not Don Nix. Don Nix is on this on another one, but he couldn't read very well. And one of the interesting things was that you could play him a sound or some part of a song, and he could memorize it. So that was pretty interesting to me. A guy that couldn't read music very well, but could pick up on music. You see that a lot with people like Ray Charles and what else. But just very interesting fellow. And some of the title song here, "Born Under a Bad Sign." Born on a bad sign. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I would have no luck at all. I mean, just some of the lyrics that he came up with, and I think if it wasn't for this album, we probably wouldn't have Stevie Ray Vaughan, because I mean, if you listen to this album, listen to the way he plays, you can hear Stevie Ray in in these songs with Albert. And there's also an album with Albert and Stevie. And he lived a good life. I think he was born in 1927. He died in 92. So he was 65. I think he had a heart attack. And this album came out in 1967. 1967 on Stax. Again, fantastic. You got the Three Kings, you got Albert, BB, and we'll get to another one later. So that's my first entry into nine.
Cool.
Albert King, Born
Well,
Under
Joe,
a Bad Sign.
I think you did good. I mean, you picked a blues album I actually knew and owned,
Yeah,
and I will go on the record saying I like the horns.
yeah,
But I think for somebody who is not a hardcore blues, I appreciate the blues and I like it, but I don't collect a lot of it.
right.
I think it does make it accessible. The stack sound, as you referred to, and
Right.
there is a stack sound. You're very much right about that. So when you fired that one off, I will say Joe replied faster with his 3 albums than any guest panelist we ever had on the show. Is like
Yeah, I already
immediately.
knew which ones I
Well,
was going to do.
Stacy's a couple weeks ahead, isn't she? So
Yeah, but she took a couple days to
Yes.
get back to me. Joe was within
Yeah, I think
5 seconds. He answered the
he
question.
texted me at or messaged me on this Discord thing at 8:42, and I answered at 8:45 when I saw it. So
yeah.
I knew exactly. But I mean, you got these iconic songs like "Born Under a Bad Sign" and "Crosscut Saw." I mean, the two of those right there. You hear Clapton cover and everybody, a lot of blues guys cover. So it's just iconic album, and it's named one of the most iconic albums for a lot of the blues and blues rock guys, guitar gods. They
So
look at this. So.
You say the repress sounds great. It's under craft. Is that what, like a $30 record then?
Yeah, yes, 20. I think it was 28. It retails for 28, I think.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's
Easy.
all
Very
it's
accessible.
AAA. And it was not a gatefold. It was just the original looks exactly. I had an original mono and an original stereo of this, and it looks exactly the same, except this sounds better than both.
Cool.
Cool. Who wants to go next? Jake?
I can. My first record of the night is going to be The Police's fifth and final effort, 1983's Synchronicity. Let's move
I was
her
saying
out of the way.
whipped cream.
And Other Delights. Released June 17th, 1983. And of course, we all know this is The Police. This is their most successful release. We all know the singles Every Breath You Take, King of Pain, Synchronicity, Synchronicity 2, Wrapped Around Your Finger. King of Pain, I probably said, and could say it 1,000 times because, I mean, the whole album essentially is one gigantic masterpiece. If there were 2 songs that I probably would take off, I would probably say that Miss Gradenko would be one. Mother, even though it's probably become a cult classic, which was
That's an odd song.
say what?
That's an odd song.
It is a very odd song. But I think it's become a cult classic, but I think everything else on the record was great. I mean, by the time that they had gone in the studio and done this, I mean, they had been having huge problems, in the studio. And a lot of people obviously say that Synchronicity was kind of like their magnus opus, right? It did 8 million copies in the US alone. I think it sold a total of 14 million worldwide and has probably also surpassed that. One song I didn't mention that a lot of people talk about a lot also is Tea in the Sahara. And, I've always been a fan of The Police. This was the first album that I personally listened to and got involved in because I was born in 77, a child of the 80s, teen of the 90s into my early 20s. And 80s music was very huge, at least in my family, because my brother and I lived off MTV. And when this record came out, Synchronicity was everywhere. I still remember the day my brother filled out the MTV catalog to get the Synchronicity t-shirt. And I still remember like it was yesterday how proud he was when he got the it wasn't just a plain tee, it was a tank top, but it was of the album cover. And it was just the coolest shirt I'd ever seen. And he was probably, I think, 9 or 10 when he got that. And just because of the shirt, it was interesting. I remember he had the record and I heard it. And of course, at that time, I think my favorite song then was Every Breath You Take. And I loved the music videos. I just got lost in them. But of course, this really catapulted them, and some say at the time basically put them in the best band existing at the time, the album came out. And of course it's got the artwork that features the band members, covers all the complex rhythm and arrangements, etc., etc. It's still got a little bit of their reggae feel to it. So Police Synchronicity, my number one. I really wish they would have stayed together and done an album after this.
That was their final
Because I
one.
really would have loved to have heard what it would have sounded like. And unfortunately, with some bands, they leave right at the peak. And it always makes you wonder, when you go in and you listen to wrong camera. When you go in and listen to the Warp Cam. When you listen to like Sting's first album, it kind of makes you wonder, right? Like, Dream of the Blue Turtles, like would any of that, have had gone on a Police record? Would he and, Stuart Copeland have just, battled that out? Because if you haven't seen the Rick Beato interview with Stuart Copeland, it's very interesting to hear him really discuss and talk about just, the inner guts, if you will, of the Police and their beginnings and how involved Stuart Copeland was. He really was never a good songwriter, but when they first came out, Stuart Copeland really did a lot of the songs. And as he said, they were all crap. They were all crappy songs, but over time, Sting just developed and he just more or less was like, he was a genius. And, it's like the what could have been had they managed to, not fight and have the egos clashing.
I think at the end, his contribution was so immense to what the Police were. I don't think he was willing to compromise much at the end. Like,
so here's the thing. I kind of agree. I think, I think as always, right. I do think that all bands come to that point where it's just it's a clash, right? Who's contributing more, who should get more say on what song or whatever. But the cool thing about the Police, right, is that some people might not realize this. They never technically broke up. They never broke up.
They just quit.
They never said they just stopped. I mean, they toured.
Yeah, they've had one additional tour.
They toured, I think, up through 85. I think.
Yeah, they did a tour in the 2000s too.
And they got back together, I think 2007-ish, 2008 and toured. I'd love to see him again. I wish they'd do it again.
Yeah, they seem to be getting along well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. I think,
I had a good
everything
time
heals with time, right?
listening, because I made a playlist of all the albums. I'd heard all the albums, probably except Gordon Lightfoot. Probably haven't listened to that whole album. But I kind of stopped and had to, I was working on a car at work, and I had to go to the computer and look up the lyrics. It says, well, every girl that I go out with becomes my mother in the end.
There you go.
I was like, what is he talking about? I mean, what are you talking about?
Andy's
it's just the oddest, oddest lyrics I've probably ever heard. I don't think I've ever paid attention to it.
No, don't listen to "Don't Stand So Close to Me." Then,
right.
Now, does anybody know how many variants there were of that album? Because
I think I'm coming out with a guess here. For whatever reason, the number that I've just decided was 36.
That's the number I've heard. I've also heard a lot more, but again, how do they figure that number? But there are people that go out and try to collect every variant. But there's also one that's all black and white that's kind of a promo. That's pretty pricey. But
I've had the brown transparent. I've had the blue transparent.
I think I had the purple.
Yeah, there is a purple. There is a purple. Yeah.
Yep.
I've had the
but
purple.
I think those are the
no,
ones
the
I've had.
transparent ones, isn't it just they didn't put enough black colored dye in it? There wasn't.
Supposedly it's an audiophile.
Was it intentional
formula.
to put?
Yeah, intentional. Yeah. Yeah, they were labeled that way.
It's an
when they came out.
audiophile formula. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I guess we get to go with Scott next, and then
Okay. Now, some of you might get shocked when I show this record, but I will explain. My first pick is Counting Crows, Hard Candy. Now, I know what you're saying. Wait a minute. That has not had a vinyl press. No, it has not. This is the only unofficial I have in my whole collection. Not a big unofficial bootleg guy, but this is one of my favorite albums of all time. It is my favorite Counting Crows album. Jake and I have had hours-long discussion about which is the best Counting Crows record. But
August, what's the August one?
That's Jake's, and they popped on the scene. Mr. Jones is on here, and
it's August something, right?
August and Everything.
Yeah,
August and Everything.
That would probably be my favorite.
Yeah,
their first album, huge.
I think a lot of it is though. When you get a big single like, but when this came out, Joe, did you go and seek it out and listen to it? And
the only song I recognize off of that is that dreaded "Paved Paradise."
That's a Joni Mitchell song.
I heard that. I heard that over and over and over on the radio. Kind of the same sentiment I guess people have with Rumors.
Yeah.
It just got played and played and played, or at least here. You had the radio on, that song was playing.
Yeah, and it's weird because that was a hidden track on the CD. That was not actually an official release on the CD. Yeah. But remember in the day on CDs where they'd put like 10 minutes of silence and then a song would come on? That's where Big Yellow Taxi was. But I think they also put it in a movie or something that kind of that kind of launched it as a single. It was the second single. First single was American Girls, and Sheryl Crow does a backup vocal on that. So let's talk about how we got here to this album. So obviously, August and Everything after sold something like 16 million records. They become a huge success on their debut album. Recovering the Satellites, which is another record I love. It sold obviously less than 16 million. You don't do that. And it had singles, but didn't have that Mr. Jones hit. And actually, I would say they never did have that Mr. Jones hit again. But that's not what I think they wanted to be. They kind of wanted to be the band, or they wanted to be folk rockers, updated alternative folk rockers. And so they resisted the man, so to speak, the corporate pressure until, after recovering, did okay. The next two albums actually did not sell that great at all. So the record company kind of threw it down, as they've done to Aerosmith and Cheap Trick and several people. They, I got to echo.
I haven't heard it echo up until now.
Okay. I still have that. But so they told them, hey, we got to sell some records. We need a hit. So I think, and they talked to him about a lot of your songs are kind of downer, gloom, how about making it a little peppy? So they actually obliged. And this record, I will say, is probably their most poppy record, but I wouldn't call it pop at all. And they actually have some great songs on here and some great lyrics. Joe, you was mentioning how you love lyrics. Check
the American Girl is kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, American Girls, but Hard Candy has some amazing It has an amazing line in it. I can't quote it perfectly, but it talks about something about on rainy days I go to drawer looking at pull out the drawer. And it doesn't say, but he's talking about he's looking at pictures. It's amazing lyric from Adam Duritz, who I've already said is one of my top 5 lyricists ever. So so you have Hard Candy, American Girl, and then what always makes a great album, it has great album cuts. So if I could get All My Love to You or Richard Manuel Is Dead, that is a fantastic song. Butterfly in Reverse, great song. Up All Night, Frankie
There was
Miller
some
Goes to Hollywood.
controversy with the Richard Manuel song, wasn't there?
Do what?
There was some type of controversy with that song, the Richard Manuel one. I read that recently. There was something going on with that song. They had to do something. I don't know if you heard of that, but
I know I've actually, it's a great song. I've never heard any about the controversy around it.
yeah, because
And
I
Richard
wasn't familiar.
Manuel was in the band,
Right.
for those who don't know.
I wasn't familiar either, and I saw it, and then I saw that they were talking about something. I think they had to take it off of the album, or they had to change something about it. I really don't know. I didn't really read into it.
Now you got me interested because I love this album. I'm gonna have to go figure out what that is.
Follow up on that one.
Yeah. So now I did want to talk about so Up All Night, that's another good song. Big Yellow Taxi we've talked about. That's a Joni Mitchell cover. And I'm sure when they they'll get around to pressing this officially probably in the next year or two. Big Yellow Taxi will be on that record because it'll have to be a 2 LP set anyway. But to me, the real hidden gem on this record, and it was not a single, is the song called Miami. Just an absolutely beautiful song.
It's like one of your favorite Counting Crow songs.
It is one of my favorite. It's up there. It's just so good. The song has one note from a French horn near the end, and I'm thinking, who thinks to do that? I mean, that's the kind of stuff I dig into. I was like, so cool that they got that meticulous in the studio and said, you know what we need right here? Just one note from a French horn. Not many rock songs have a French horn on them. So,
Colorblind is one of my favorite Counting Crow songs. I think it's a very intimate song.
Well, let's get into the lyrics of this American Girl song.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've waited for an hour last Friday night. She never came around. She took almost everything from me. I'm going through my closet, trying on her clothes almost every day.
That's a good line.
What in the world?
Well, you got to remember.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
I could have been anyone. I could have been anyone you see. I wish it was anyone but me. There's nothing but peels and ashes under my skin.
Joe reads the lyrics. Now that's
good. I read the lyrics too, and Adam, he's been open that he struggles with some depression, and some mental health, and he's had some relationship challenges, but
he's had some failures. Yeah,
they sure do make good songs when he sits down. I mean, he's got a way with lyrics.
I'm just joking. I mean, I hear that. I was trying to pay attention to the music, because I hadn't really listened to that whole album. And then when I heard, I had to stop. I had to rewind the song on my phone. I was like, did he just say he was trying on her clothes?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, since I gave the Springsteen lyric last week, I do want to give this lyric because I think it's one of the greatest. So I pulled it up here. This is from Hard Candy, and this is the opening part of Hard Candy. On certain Sundays in November, when the weather bothers me, I empty drawers of other summers where my shadows used to be. Never tells you he's looking at pictures, but if you think about it, that's what he's doing. He's going to the drawer, opening it up, pulling out pictures. That is PhD level lyric writing right there in rock and roll. So, I'll always make my case. I think this is. I love a lot. I love 3 of the Counting Crows albums, but this one, Hard Candy, is by far my favorite one.
All right.
No matter what Jake says, it's my favorite.
Now, my first record. This is probably the first time none of us have actually had the record that we say you should own. Especially when you're selling. Sometimes someone asks you for a record, you kind of like go out of your way. Like, if they really want it, I'll give them that one. I'll just get a new one. And none of us have replaced it. So mine is Rio by Duran Duran. I've had copies. I know I've had copies, and I know I've probably sold them. And I need to get another copy. So this one is. I was surprised it only sold as many as it did because it seemed to be ginormous when it came out. It sold 2 million copies in the U.S. and 4 million copies worldwide. But this is the time when we still had 45s, right? We still had 45s selling at that time.
Yeah.
So they must have sold a lot of singles because it was huge and it was playing everywhere over and over again. The big songs were "Hungry Like a Wolf," Rio, and "Save a Prayer." It peaked number one in the Billboard's Top 200. "Hungry Like a Wolf" reached 3, and Rio peaked 14 on the Top 100. It is definitely, this is new wave synth pop, a masterpiece with rock mixed in, and this was their biggest album, and I mean the amount of airplay it got on MTV was crazy. That's why I'm surprised it only sold 4 million worldwide.
That's why, I mean, it seemed like you could not get away from Duran Duran videos on MTV. It seems like for like 3 years they were just everywhere.
Yeah. And it even got him a James Bond movie.
One of the best Bond songs ever. View to a Kill.
Might be
one of my favorite Duran Duran songs ever.
I think it is my favorite.
Which one is that?
View to a Kill.
View to a Kill.
I don't know the name.
It's got a cool sound.
Not the greatest Bond flick, but one of the best Bond songs of all time.
And what Bond movie?
A View to a Kill.
Yeah.
It was Roger Moore's last outing as James Bond. Christopher Walken played the villain.
Yeah.
With Grace Jones.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, the villain's sidekick.
I prefer the new guy. The new Bond.
The new guy's not bad.
Daniel Craig?
Yes.
He's done now. Now it's going to be
done. There's going to be another new guy.
Yeah, I like Daniel Craig. He's probably my favorite Daniel Craig, and then Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Well, don't want to necessarily get off the music, but they all have their specialty. Roger was more of the comedic Bond, if you will. He brought a little more comedy to the character. Sean Connery was more of like the suave, bachelor kind of, ladies' man.
Bond.
Daniel Craig brought a bit of both. That's what made him so good. It's because he was a badass, but he was suave, but he was edgy. But best Bond song, Duran Duran, View to a Kill, all the way.
Well, we are probably overlooking something that Gerald's reminding us about.
What?
He's saying that Live or Let Die is the best Bond song. I disagree. I think it's top 5, but I don't think it's number 1. Listen, I love View to a Kill. I love Aha's The Living Daylights. I think The Living Daylights is a good one.
Well, they always have some good songs. Billie Eilish.
They do. They've had some crap, but they've had some good ones.
But yeah, so mine was Rio. Again, I mean, I'm surprised that I thought it sold a lot more. And then I'm looking at the numbers going, wow. But again, 45s were huge back then. I mean, if you were a kid, you only had a couple bucks to spend, you got the 45 Pro.
You got a 45. You're damn right.
Well, I mean, did you even need the 45? You had to only stick around probably 15 minutes and you would see it come up on MTV. I think they had it in rotation every 20 minutes.
Non-stop play.
I didn't have cable, and I don't think there was cable available where I lived for a long time. I had to go to my cousin's house to watch MTV. But huge album, great album. That's a must-have, even though none of us have it right now. All right, so we're going to go all the way back to
Joe Willie.
Yeah, I think I have that Rio on CD. I don't know.
That counts.
I don't know why. I was
say,
hungry. I mean,
you
go back to the lyrics again. Hungry like the wolf, he's going after a woman, right? Isn't that what he is? And then hold back the rain. It's very interesting.
Joe, this is not a group you study the lyrics. Yeah.
But we should have like a segment. Joe
Yeah.
reads the lyrics.
Well, I mean, like I said,
let me read the lyrics on this.
well, I have to because that's one of the reasons. That's another reason why I listen to the blues, because half these rock guys, they sing so fast, I can't understand what they're saying because my mind moves so slow. So I don't know what they're saying. I have to go back and read the lyrics, and when I do, I'm like, what's going on with these guys? All right, so the first guy I had was the Velvet Bulldozer. This guy is going to be the king of boogie. This guy is going to be what they call the boogie man, or his closest friends called him the Hook, and it's John Lee Hooker. And go back to Albert King. You know, we talk about the sales. How many did Rio sell?
4 million.
6 million total.
Worldwide.
6 million. You know, you get all these crazy numbers. The blues guys didn't have the same kind, especially the ones I'm going over tonight. They didn't have the same kind of, you know, economics as a lot of the rock guys did, because that's why, you know, you don't have the numbers. You don't see the number. I think Albert King maybe 250,000. That's if they were, you know, however they kept up with that stuff. I don't know. But they're saying with this next album, maybe 250,000 with this as well. But you got John Lee Hooker, and he lived a long life. He died. They really don't know how.
They don't know how old he really was.
Yeah, they don't know when it's something 1917, 1920, 1924. He was in his mid 80s when he passed away.
Something I even heard is as old as like 1911 to 1913. Yeah. We don't know.
They don't know. But this dude was brutal. He was raw. He was soulful. There's nobody like John Lee Hooker. There's nobody that can compare to him. He had a rhythm that most musicians could not keep up with. And because he would change tempo, and a lot of times he would do a similar song, but do it in a completely different way, just because of whatever his instinct was that night. And what I love about John Lee was he was hypnotic. When you listen to his music, you know, like I said, he would play one chord the whole song, but it would draw you in. It was like a trance. It was like a drone type song, and downright primitive compared to what was going on like in the South Side of Chicago. He was operating on a principle I would call just pure instinct, and it was funky. It was mesmerizing. In a lot of ways, it was prehistoric, because I don't think there has been another guy like John Lee. And he was timeless. Bonnie Raitt said he was in a league of his own. He had mean licks, he had a gruff voice, and a rumbling funk that was all part of his mysterious figure. And those are Bonnie Raitt's words. He had a deep, gravelly tone. It was almost like a talking blues. B.B. King would talk, he would play, sing, and talk, but John Lee would almost like tell a story in a talking type of voice. And he was brought up by a Baptist preacher. His biological father was a Baptist preacher, and he was a child of 11 kids, I think.
Wow.
And his parents split up because in his original house, it was only gospel type music, church music. And I think that's where he got some of his tone, some of his rhythm from. But his stepfather was a blues musician, and he taught him the blues. And to me, like I said to the guys before the show started, of all the blues guys, I wouldn't say I don't like making lists. I wouldn't say he's my favorite, but I probably have the most albums by John Lee Hooker in my collection. And he was powerful, he was authentic, and I haven't even showed you the record yet. It's this one right here. It Serve You Right to Suffer. This is John Lee Hooker. It's on the Impulse label, and Impulse is known for jazz. This is a jazz label, but what they're also known for is excellent recordings. And if you want an excellent recording of John Lee Hooker, this is the one to grab. And this, I've had an original copy of this, and I sold it and bought some more John Lee Hooker albums. but this is exactly what the original looks like. And he's paired not with blues musicians, he's paired with jazz guys. And it's a unique sound. And it just shows that he can play acoustic, he can play electric, he can play solo, he can play with a band. The studio was booked for one day. John Lee showed up with these guys they had never played before together. And he showed them the song, showed them the tempo, how he wanted to proceed. And what you've got here, in my personal opinion, is one of the best blues albums ever, and it's on a jazz label. So to me, it's very interesting. This is probably the most expensive of the three I've got. This is a new reissue, 23, I think 23 or 22, $38 is what you usually can find it. All analog, and it sounds fantastic. And they copied the original from the cover to the label on the record, and like I said, it sounds fantastic.
I think that's something I'm gonna have to pick up. And if you don't know who John Lee Hooker is, he shows up for about 30 seconds in the Blues Brothers.
Yeah,
And he goes, bong, bong, what do you?
and he went under like probably 20 different fake names, because his original, I think it was 1945, I believe, maybe Boogie Chillin'. Sold.
He did like a lot of Boogie Chillin' kind of.
He sold like 1 million copies of that, and he's kind of like Forrest Gump. He never saw any of that money, and so he would have to come up with different fake names and go to these different labels so that he could make a living, because unfortunately back in that time, they were taking advantage of these black musicians.
And they were always playing, which made them better, but they were always playing because they had to.
Right. But he pulled whatever John Lee plays on the guitar, he pulls that chord to its limit. I mean, he just goes and goes and goes. It's kind of along the same lines as Albert King. He didn't play fast, but you felt every emotion that he was playing, not only with his strumming the guitar, but what I love about John, he was always tapping his feet. In some of those early recordings, they would actually put a pallet on the ground and put a microphone in the pallet so that they could get that. He was his own drum. He would keep his own tempo with his foot, with his own foot. And the last thing I'll say about John Lee is that you always run the risk when you put an album of his own, you're going to suffer with him. Especially like along with this album, that the true blues, where it's songs about suffering, songs about heartbreak. When you put an album on with him, you're going to listen, you're going to fall into a trance, and you're going to suffer along with John Lee Hooker. You just never know what you're going to get with him.
Awesome. I want to buy it now, so I'm gonna have to stop. I'm gonna have to put that on my list.
Look, I've always said this, and I told Joe this earlier before we started. I've always looked at John Lee Hooker as the Neil Young of blues.
Yeah.
He just his playing is very muddy, right? It's raw, it's rough,
right?
It's not technical, it's dirty, it's just got a grungy kind of feel to it.
I think Albert King was ranked what did I say, 22nd? Rolling Stone says John Lee's 35th of the greatest of all time, and one of the greatest blues vocalists of all time.
Oh yeah. When you hear John Lee Hooker, it's John Lee Hooker. He's got a voice.
You see, you can look up on YouTube when he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame with Bonnie Raitt inducts him into the Hall of Fame, and he's ripping on the guitar during on that at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, you are up next.
I don't know why it took 7 weeks to bring this album up, because it is an essential. It's one of my all-time faves. How many of y'all any of you guys ever watch Mike and Mike when they had Mike and Mike on, ESPN in the morning? Mike Golick and Mike Greenberg, right? Mm-hmm. This is one of Mike Golick's favorite artists of all time, if not his favorite artist of all time. He is one of mine as well. He's one of the greatest singer-songwriters I think one of the most underrated singer-songwriters out there. And the album in reference and the artist in reference is Gordon Lightfoot. And the album, which is his 9th, is The Almighty Sundown, which came out May 10th. Or sorry, it came out in 1974. Short album, man. It was only about like 40 minutes long, give or take. But it's got, the two hits we all know and hear on the radio, which is Sundown and Carefree Highway, which, the thing about Sundown, about that song, if you want to pull up lyrics, Joe, Sundown's a great song to pull up lyrics-wise, because that song, what he writes about, he actually writes about, he drank a lot. And he was a bit of a womanizer, as well. I mean, he was married early on, had a daughter, I think, pretty young. By this time, I think he was divorced. But this song, in reference, is essentially about the woman that killed John Belushi. He dated her. She was kind of a muse, to he and, other artists during that time. So it's just unique to hear that song and hear him sing it and who it's actually about, which is really cool. The album peaked at number 1 on the Billboard 200. It reached Sundown. The song reached number 1 on the Hot 100, and Carefree Highway actually was right behind it at number 2.
Wow.
So those songs really carried the record. It did, I think, 2 to 3 million worldwide. Again, it's interesting kind of where you take those numbers, because you think of from 1974 to present time, has it sold more than that? But, he did obviously no Grammys per se, but he, won a ton of Juno Awards, because he is one of Canada's sons, if you will. He is the Bob Dylan of Canada. And if you haven't seen the documentary, he was a big fan of Bob Dylan, loved Bob Dylan. And Bob Dylan, he wanted Bob Dylan to come up to present an award, and he would not show up to an award show unless Bob Dylan presented it to him. So Bob Dylan was a huge influence on him. They had a lot of respect for one another. But this record was his 9th, crazy enough. You think about the 8 records prior to, some of the other hits and albums that he came up with. This by far is my favorite. This is a 1974 Japanese original press that we're looking at, which is very hard to come by. But this one's from my personal copy, because I think the Japanese press of this record sounds amazing, and I think it's the best. I will say the MoFi is good, but I'm taking the Japanese press on this.
Is he only wearing one sandal?
He's wearing 2. Smoking a stogie, chilling in a barn.
I don't think he's wearing 2 shoes.
I think he's got 2.
That looks like a cigarette to me, man.
Yeah, he's got 2 on, smoking a ciggy. But yeah, one of my favorite all-time records. I always tell people, like, if you're ever looking for Gordon Lightfoot, come hang out with me, because like Gary Wright Dreamweavers, Gordon Lightfoot Sundowns are essentials. If you don't have the album, it's one you need to have. That, and then also Gord's Gold, probably also my number 2 favorite record of all his hits from his earlier records up to, because I think Gord's Gold came out originally in 1980, I believe, between 78 to 80, if I remember, maybe, or it might have been, I think that, or maybe 75 was the original. I'll have to check. But yeah, that is my number 2.
Nice.
First time I listened to that album all the way through was this morning. I've heard some songs off the album, but I'd never listened to it all the way through.
I think, Joe, if you haven't, I think what you should really do, man, is I think you should listen to, Sundown is my favorite Lightfoot album, and he's got some gems on a lot of them. God, I love showing that warp cam.
The turntable's level.
It's lovely, isn't it? But Gord's Gold, I think probably one of my favorite greatest hit compilation albums of all time.
There was one of the songs
That might even be an essential record down the road, and our compilations.
There was one song that was toward the end of the album that I enjoyed. I know I'd heard it before, but I can't remember which one it was.
Mrs. Shark said Early Morning Rain. Beautiful. Okay, so thank you, because I was about to say one of my favorite Lightfoot songs of all time is Beautiful. That's an amazing song.
I don't know if we go on the comps, if we go Gord's Gold or we go that record Sean's got in his hand, because
so now the now playing is really good. Oddly enough, I've heard it, I've played it, I've streamed it. I don't have it. Sean keeps getting me to try to grab it, but
I'm gonna remove one from my store and keep it for me. I don't have one.
Yeah.
You don't have one. I was going to say, it's weird. Jake is the bigger Gordon Lightfoot fan, but you and I have that record.
I think it's a good one to have.
Yeah,
but Gord's Gold, I think, is the better one to have.
And if you use the rush technique, Gord's Gold and Gord's Gold Volume 2,
which I have 2 copies of that. That would be the Gordon Lightfoot,
the ultimate
Drill, which is
set.
Gordon's Gold 2, because it has the wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald on it, and that's really why I think a lot of people seek for Gord's Gold 2, because it didn't have another greatest hits until, and I think that record came out in 88 or 89. So it's got a lot, he eventually kind of went to more like electronic S-type stuff. Sundown was great because it still kind of had that folk blend with country, tones to it. And no one plays a 12-string like Gordon does.
Ry Cooder plays a pretty good 12-string.
Yeah, he's pretty famous for that. And slide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, you're up next.
All right. Well, when we were doing our pregame here, I learned that Joe is also a fan of this next artist. So, and I see Joe is a fan of lyrics. So this album is definitely chock full of some interesting songs. So I'm going Jason Isbell, Weather Vanes.
I have that.
And this is by far the newest record. This is a 2023 record. And I'm always a little hesitant to put things in that don't have, 4 or 5 years behind them, because you could be living in the moment, right? But this record is going to go down as a classic. I think a couple times in Jason's career, he used to be in the Drive-By Truckers for 2 or 3 albums. I forget how many he was on. Then he went solo, and he had 3 or 4 albums before he really took off. So if you think, I don't know, Jason Isbell, is he country? No, he is not country. He's Americana. He's got a little bit of everybody thrown in there. He's got a little tinge of country in there, but he also has a little tinge of, Springsteen and Mellencamp and a little bit of Neil Young. I hear a lot of Neil Young. In Isbell. And of course I'm a big Neil Young fan, so I become a fan of Jason. But he keeps putting out albums and everybody goes, well, that's his opus. Southeastern, that was his opus. Nashville Sound, that was his opus. And by the way, I think he won Grammys for both of those. And some of you may not know who he is, but you may know, I think Morgan Wallen covered Cover Me Up, which was a big mainstream country hit, which Jason did not have a big hit with it. It's very popular. It was a single. Reunion. Yeah, I like Reunion too. But this is the record right here. This one is going to be hard to beat. It's just so stellar. And it's not too early to call it an essential classic. So you talk about themes on the record, and Jason does 3 or 4 things very well, in my opinion. One, he never has more instrumentation in a song than the song needs. If it needs to be a quiet acoustic song, that's what it is. If it needs some fiddle, that's what's in there. If it needs some distorted guitar, that'll be there too. Or maybe a couple bars of a slide guitar, like in Speed Trap Town. There's just like 2 bars of a slide guitar, but it's perfect where it's placed. So, and the other thing is, as I said, up there with Adam Duritz, I think Jason Isbell is one of the greatest lyricists of the time we have. So let's just talk about the album a little bit. I guess no doubt the biggest song off of it was "King of Oklahoma." The album won a Grammy for Americana Album of the Year. The song won a Grammy for Americana Song of the Year. And it's it's a song I think everybody can relate to. What's going on in the country? It's a song about a construction worker falls off a ladder and gets hooked on prescription medication and how their life spirals out of control. You got I wrote down some of the themes here on the record. You got a song about mental health and relationships. You got a song about abortion. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. You got a song about father-daughter relationship, absentee father-daughter relationship. You got a song about school gun violence. You got a song about tragic, forbidden interracial love and how that brings about some tragedy. And then you got a song that a lot of people says is about Justin Earl Towns and Jason. I guess they come up together, but when we were close, and it's kind of like why you and not me. Justin's dead of an overdose, and he's kind of asking you were the best of us. He says that in the song, and kind of saying why you and not me. The themes to the album is just one of the most solid written albums ever. And again, I'll put in my connection here that people going through relationship issues tend to make great focused music. And his marriage clearly was about to fall apart. He was off on the set of what's the name of that movie? I told you before the Flowers.
Yeah, Scorsese.
Flower Moon.
Yeah, the Scorsese, the Flower movie about Oklahoma, and that's where he was living. So that's why King of Oklahoma. He was actually living down there during it. So I can't recommend this enough. I think anybody would find, whether it's lyrics or it's guitar. There is two guitar players in this band, Jason and Sadler Vaden, two of the best guitar players in the country in the same band. They don't show it off all the time because that's not what the music calls for, but they're really amazing. And if you want to try out, I was trying, what's the most accessible Jason Isbell record? It's hands down this one. Just song for song, it's great. And some of them, Killers of the Flower Moon. Thank you, wife. It is a record, I would say, give it 3 all the way through listens, and each time you listen to it, you're going to pick up a little more, you're going to like more of the songs, and then you'll just keep listening to it, and before long, you'll be like I am and say, there's 10 great songs on this album. Joe, any perspective on this record?
Well, if you do like did you mention the Cast Iron Skillet song? That's probably my favorite, one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's the one I said was about forbidden love, interracial love.
That's a great song. And if you like more relationship drama, look up Justin Towns Earl and his wife, or widow. I think he was married to the girl. Anyways, yeah, she got really mad about that mention. She got mad about Jason in that writing that song that's about Justin. So if you like that kind of stuff, there is some drama there.
Yeah, because he talks about dead on the bathroom floor. I mean, I think some of the best songwriting is edgy. Like, you listen to the song White Beretta, and it's a song about abortion, but it's really I think it's double. It's a being thankful, but also regretful about not supporting the person you was in the relationship the way you probably should have when they were going through that. He just has a way to cut to the bone, man.
Yeah, he does.
The lyrics will cut your heart out.
I really like Jason. Like I said, I originally found out about him through the Drive-By Truckers and been following his solo career. And he's done some stuff with the Old Crow Medicine Show. I like them as well. Kind of a bluegrass alternative rock type band. And they've done some collaborations with each other. fantastic singer songwriter, fantastic guitar player. Yeah, that's the kind of sound I enjoy listening to.
All right, so pick it up. Jason Isbell, Weather Vanes.
And my wife is hooked on it. She's been listening to the same CD over and over again.
I suspected your wife had better taste than you, Sean.
Yes, exactly. And because considering that most of the Jason Isbell I've had, you've bought from me, so
Yeah,
I
I got a test pressing of
Yeah,
Southeast.
I remember Sean had a test pressing of
I
that.
bought it. Yeah,
you got it.
yeah.
So my next album is another one that was instrumental in early '80s on MTV. It definitely influenced many a bands the next 10 years or so on MTV and in general. Probably I don't really want to call them hair band, but it was kind of the start of hair bands. I mean, this is Def Leppard's Pyromania. I mean, it's got I love Photograph, Rock of Ages, Foolin', Too Late for Love, peaked at number 2 on the Billboard. Photograph was reached 12. Rock of Ages peaked at 16. But it's definitely one that influenced everything after it, like huge influence on hard rock, glam metal, hair. And didn't the drummer have one arm?
Not on that album. He had two.
He had two, but wrecked his vet, lost his arm.
So he had 2 arms on this album. So, so it didn't really win major awards, but I mean, it was heavy rotation on MTV and definitely influenced everything that came out in the next 10 years. I mean, with Warrant and all those hair bands. I mean, this was their catalyst, was probably seeing this, and they wanted this, they wanted that. Definitely an essential.
And who produced that album, Sean?
Oh, and I mean, you can go on with Mr. Mutt Lang, Robert Mutt Lang, who has done amazing work. And I think until recently, Shania Twain, it was the number 1 selling country artist. I think female country. I think that might have changed recently, but he was instrumental on getting. That's why she was really stuck out and was different than everyone else, because her husband, Mutt Lang, produced the records, and you could get that vibe, and it really kicked it up for her a notch. And anything he kind of touched was great. So yeah, this is definitely an essential.
Except for, I mean, you said everything he touched was great, except for All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You by Heart. That was completely one of the worst songs ever put to.
That got a lot of play though.
I know, but it doesn't mean it's not horrible. It's horrible.
Well, for devoted Heart fans, probably, but it brought a lot of people into Heart.
Now, Scott, I can go back to some of those Counting Crow lyrics if you want to say horrible. So let's just keep moving on.
Oh my God, Joe!
All right, Joe, you're up next. With
Joe
your
will
next
not
album.
be a reoccurring guest on the 3 Men on the Record.
This is talking about, what was this one song, Up All Night? Frankie Miller Goes to Hollywood.
That's a great song.
It's a great song. He's talking about it's too late to get high. I've gotten high a little bit in my life. I've never said it's too late to get high.
Well, when you get behind the wheel, it might be too
Maybe
late.
it upsets his stomach or something, Joe. Who knows why he wrote it?
So, Joe, what's your next album?
Well, what do I have? I've had the Velvet Bulldozer.
Yeah.
I've had the Boogeyman. And the next guy is the Texas Cannonball. The Texas Cannonball.
Come on, Freddie. Let's go, baby.
That is his nickname. And he was, unfortunately, this guy could have had more hits, but he was turned down by Chess Records because they said he sounded too much like B.B. King.
He sings a lot better than BB. Plays a lot better than BB too.
So he started off, that hurt him because I believe for some of the other books, again, I read other books that I've read, he felt like he couldn't sing good. So he started just playing instrumentals, being a session guitarist, and kind of hindered his singing. Well, finally, I think he got his breakthrough. For me, is where I found him, was on Shelter Records with Mr. Leon Russell and Don Nix. And Shelter Records originally signed Tom Petty's original band. What was it, Mud Crutch?
Mudcrutch.
That was his
Yeah.
original band before. Yeah.
And Shelter Records signed them. But we got Mr. Freddie King. here.
Yes,
Getting
I knew it was coming.
ready.
So you had 2 kings. I was hoping for 3 kings.
This is
By far.
This is an icon to me, one of my favorite album covers. I've never smoked a cigarette or a joint in my life, but this photo makes me want to smoke something. And just a fantastic cover. Just great songs on this, and produced by Leon Russell. And
Yep.
Leon plays on this.
He plays on it.
He plays piano and guitars on this. But the key guy on this to me is Don Nix. Don Nix is a fantastic singer, songwriter, not well known, was big with Stax Records. And the big song on here is Going Down. And
I was about to mention that.
it's written by Don Nix. And let's see here, Living on the Highway, which was written by Leon and Don Nix. And the other one is the track 1 on side 1 is The Same Old Blues, which is written by Don Nix. And you look, you hear when you listen to these songs, when I first heard these songs, that's got to be either Freddie wrote those songs or some other black guy wrote those songs. But if you look up Don Nix, he's the whitest guy you'll ever see. And he's one of my favorite songwriters, favorite producers. So let's get into a little bit here on Freddie. Freddie's ranked number 19 on Rolling Stone's greatest guitarist of all time. And his instrumental Hideaway, you might not know the song title, but I'm sure you've heard it before.
We'll put him on the map.
It's concluded in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. And he's ranked 19th as the greatest guitarist of all time. And another one, because Rolling Stones, kind of like with the 500 list that y'all are doing right now, that's not good enough. You got to do 600. You got to do 700. There's all these lists. So he gets put around all these different places. But what I love about Freddie is that he did not just play the guitar. The man literally attacked it. Okay. And his presence and his showmanship, I think, is unmatched. That's just
the way he played was very unique too, because
very unique. That's where he got the nickname Texas Cannonball from.
Yep.
Because
he had a thumb pick, right? That he would go with his thumb, and it very unique way on how he played the guitar. But if you've never listened to the album, I agree with Joe. So that's why I got so pumped, because it's probably my all-time favorite blues record. Because Freddie King's always been my favorite blues singer and guitarist, because Joe nailed it. The guy, he beats the hell out of a guitar, but he makes the thing purr. And if you listen to Going Down, that song will pump you up. You're going through a wall listening to that thing.
Because I'd never heard of him. I heard of B.B. King and Albert King, and then through my, trying to find, chasing after that sound. When I found Freddie, I was like, this is it. This right here is my guy. And I just devour everything by him. And he would literally, like, Jake was just saying, he would literally destroy a guitar. I know of one story in England and somewhere in London where he went back 3 or 4 times. Very commonplace, and by the end of the show, he gave the guitar to one of the backing band players, and the guy was so excited. But come to find out, the guitar was destroyed. There was he couldn't even play it. The guy tried to play it, and it was unplayable because Freddie had literally just taken the soul out of that guitar. And
he's a big man too.
Big dude. I mean, he wasn't quite as tall as Albert, but I mean, he was a strong man, and
big guy, huge hands, man.
Huge hands. And one of the reasons why I like the blues is because most of the time these guys that I listen to, they're not just playing music. They're not just singing songs. Like, they're literally living these tunes. They're literally, they mean what they're singing. They're not just trying to make an album, trying to cut a song. They're putting everything they have in each concert, each album, each performance. It doesn't matter what it was. And I think that's eventually what killed Freddie, because of the three that I've had tonight, he died when he was like 42 years old.
42, yeah.
And this came out
76, I think.
This came out in 1971. And what was unique about this was, this was put out by Shelter, but it was recorded at Chess in Chicago. And Leon set it all up, and I think this is like one of the first things that Don Nix had come on board with Shelter Records, and this was the first album.
It was like a comeback record.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the first one that Don Nix helped with. And he told Leon, he said, "Hey, I got this song going down. I think Freddie would like it," because I think they had like a couple of days in the studio and everything was going good. Freddie was having a good time. And Leon said, "Yeah, I don't think he's going to go for it." So thankfully, Don Nix ignored Leon and took Freddie aside and started playing it for him and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And Freddie loved it. And I've heard Don Nix, because I have a couple of Don Nix albums. I've heard the original song of that, and it's a lot slower. Freddie double timed it, and
yeah.
It's the essential. It is the version that you want to listen to. And I read a story, again, another book. Don Nix said he didn't write Going Down. Listen to this. He said he got drunk and made it up while he was living in an old apartment in Memphis. He was sitting with his foot propped up in an open window in the summertime with no air conditioning. He fell asleep and fell 2 stories out of this window into a garbage bin. And he said, "It was a good thing I'm not fragile, as the fall might have killed me." But that's when he wrote the lyrics to the song, "Got my big feet in the window and got my mind on the ground." And that was it. And to me, it's one of my favorite blues songs, and it's been covered by Clapton, Jeff Beck. And to me, this is the original Shelter, and it's got a coffee stain or a puke stain or blood stain right here. I really don't know what that is. And what's great about this album is original Shelter had the Superman and the egg logo, and they got sued for that, and they later had to change that. But I mean, original copy in great shape like this is going to be like $50, or you can get the analog productions. And I'll tell you this sounds better than the original. And this is like $35 brand new. And they don't copy the Shelter records, but it's the same color label. But again, to me, that's my favorite, one of my favorite blues albums in my collection.
3
and
records
that's what I want to put in there. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you need to have this one.
I agree, Joe. 100.
Jake, you are up next.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, just listening to the 2 solos in that song and hearing Leon Russell just banging on the piano on that. Man, it's a marriage.
And then you got
heaven.
Don Duck Dunn on bass guitar. He's a really good bass guy as well.
Stax musicians, man. You can't beat the guys from Stax. You can't beat Booker T and the MGs, right? With
but what I like about
the gang,
Albert King would be number 1 for me if it didn't have those horns. This does not have the horns in it.
It does not. That's what's great about it, man.
That's what's great about it.
That's what's great about it. Well, my third album, I don't know if Johnny is here. He might be sleeping. It is late in Germany. But Johnny, when he was on here, we were discussing we were talking about how 1994 was probably one of the best years of music ever. And this album is no exception to the rule. This album, I think, sold initially as of 2009. I think it sold upward to 15 million. When it first came out, I think it sold between 3 to 4 million. It was their debut. In my opinion, it was their best album. And this album was produced. A lot of people don't realize this. I'm going to say it properly, but Scott and I say it the way it should be said. Rick Ocasek produced a couple of albums of this band. And a lot of people don't realize that Rick Ocasek was an amazing producer. He was a damn good producer and produced some good
Bad
records.
Brains.
He produced some good records. I prefer Ocasek I've always said Rick Ocasek. Sean constantly sends me the video of the cars introducing themselves all the time as it's Rick Ocasek.
And it's
So
him
I had to
saying his own name. So who do you believe, Jake?
Maybe had a couple of drinks, came out wrong, slip of the tongue. I don't know.
Or the man
But-
himself?
And mind you, this record was ranked number 294 out of the top 500. Okay, formed by Rivers Cuomo, Pat Wilson, the drummer, Matt Sharp, co-founder and bass player, who was in what side project band? The Rentals, Return of the Rentals, and Jason Cropper. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Weezer, the Blue Album, released May 10th, 1994, produced by Rick Ocasek. Guys and gals, this is one record. If somebody asked me, like, what's your all-time album, or what do you think could be one of the best albums, this record is there, and there's a reason this record is there. Because out of the 10 songs, I would say 9 songs on this album are great. It opens up with My Name is Jonas, which is probably one of the best opening songs to an album, which I think, Scott, Sean, and myself are going to do that. Well, we're going to come up with an album, the albums that have just phenomenal opening songs to kick an album off. And My Name is Jonas is no exception, man. It is hard. It is fast. Johnny Five is alive, baby. It has No One Else. The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Buddy Holly, Undone.
The Buddy Holly song, man.
Yep, which, we all kind of got into, right? Surf Wax America, Say It Ain't So, In the Garage, Holiday, and one of my all-time favorite songs on the record that doesn't get enough love, with the phenomenal build-up to the end of it, is Only in Dreams. This record was played in my best friend's Chevy S10. He got it the day it came out. It was the only tape that sat in his car for 3 years. He never took the damn cassette tape out of the truck. Every time he started the car, the Blue Album came on. And what's crazy about this, right, is that Weezer was formed in 1992, okay? And they had a hard time getting the audience, like when they would perform shows, they had a hard time engaging with the audience because at that time in 92, grunge was in. Weezer really wasn't a grunge band, and they played, songs off the Blue Album. They already had the Sweater Song and some of the hits that eventually made it on the Blue Album at the time that did nothing. So they more or less had to figure out a way to be relevant. So they did a demo, and I think that demo was called, it's like the Kitchen Tape or something like that.
Hey, Molly.
And that's what got them signed on the label. And the rest is history. But what a way to just pop on. Again, one of those albums, right, that comes out that let's see if we do it right this time. Yes. We don't have the warp cam. One of those albums, those first records, right, that just you can't top. It's like all the rocket sauce. So don't get me wrong. Pinkerton was a little more personal when it came out in 1996, and because the critics panned it, it affected Rivers Cuomo so much. He left the music industry basically for about 5 years. He went back to college. I think he finished up in Harvard. It was a very personal record because he wrote about I guess there was a woman he was in love with and wrote a lot of themes. It was personal. He wrote a lot of stuff with regard to that, and it was technically an album that just got panned. So for 5 years, you didn't hear from them. You thought after Pinkerton, you thought they were done. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. And I remember when I looked in the city paper and it said, at Doug Weston's The Troubadour, Weezer will be performing. I remember I was having a cigarette at a Coffee Bean and right down the street from my apartment. And I remember I opened that up.
Slim?
Yeah, it was a Camelot, a good old Camille. And sure enough, I'm like, oh my God, man, they're back. And this was right when they were in the midst of, making the Green Album, which was also produced by Rick Ocasek. It was a short record. The album was, I think, under 30 minutes long. But the Green Album kind of brought them back. But what not a great way to start it off with such a if you're talking about an opus, the Blue Album was an opus squared. Talk about the pressures of trying to live up to that. I did see him live. So the one thing I can tell you is when I saw him live, I think in 2000, must have been 2002. I saw him in Anaheim. The one thing that I remember, I was looking over at my girlfriend and I went, man, Rivers Cuomo doesn't really engage much with the audience. And so like when I went back and looked at this and kind of, took some notes, it's like, it kind of goes back to, well, maybe you can understand kind of why they had trouble in the very beginning, because their music was a very hard rock, but it had elements of punk, as well. Rivers Cuomo was those guys were big Kiss fans. I think everybody growing up in that era, they loved Kiss. He was a big Ace Frehley guy, right? So I think, there were a lot of elements of punk and hard rock. It was a different sound. Kind of the evolution of grunge, which eventually kind of, made its way into alternative rock, which had elements of grunge here and there. So this album, was on heavy airplay on MTV, on all radio stations. It was, played during the height of my musical journey when I was really finding new bands and, expanding the palette, if you will, because up until this time, I lived the Beatles and Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and The Who. And then when Pearl Jam 10 came out, that's when the journey kind of started and pushed me into that realm. And the Blue Album was just huge. So that's my number 3, my end off. Scott,
1994,
294
right?
of 500. 1994.
I was 8th grade, and I was upset over the baseball strike, and all I could hear on the radio was ooey ooh, like Buddy Holly.
The videos were great.
And then the language in the sweater song.
About that.
The language in the sweater song is like coming. It's like hearing my son speak now. It's, hey, bruh, how you doing?
Yeah,
man?
bruh.
Yeah. All right, it's been a while, man. Life's so rad, bruh.
Yeah,
don't forget they had the happy days in the music videos.
Yeah, this band's my favorite, man. Don't you love them? Yeah. Oh man,
yeah, man.
You want a beer?
Yeah, it's kind of like every time I would hear that, hey man, you know what it was? It was like their version of Freedom Rock. Hey man, is that Freedom Rock? Yeah, man. We'll turn it up, man. That's kind of more or less what that conversation.
If you want to destroy my sweater, man, hold this thread as I walk away. Watch me unravel. I'll soon be naked, lying on the floor.
Yeah. Joe reading the lyrics.
I had to because, like I said I had to because all I remember about Weezer
to get Joe reading rap songs
was Buddy Holly.
Hey, for the record, okay, I did not roller skate to this song, but damn it, if I were on some skates, there would be some mosh skating in a roller rink. Fists flying, just stage diving on skates. Pandemonium would have ensued.
The extent of my roller skating was getting up off the ground after I fell. So.
Ain't nothing like being at a roller rink in the 80s, baby.
For us?
Do you need the play them off music, Sean?
Maybe.
I want to thank my manager, my first kindergarten teacher. Yeah, we're running behind tonight, but so I won't have to take a long time with this one because I think everybody knows the record. So I'm gonna say, somebody asked the question, "What's the greatest side one of a record?" I got one for you right here. This next one, 1976, 26 million copies sold worldwide.
26 million.
Boston. And I'm going to, before I read the titles of the songs on side one, let's just imagine you transport back to 1976 and all you've heard is the music that's been released prior. And you get this record, you go to a record store or somebody sends it to you as a promo and you throw it on the turntable and you put it on and here's what you hear. More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, Long Play. Foreplay, Long Time. That's side one of Boston.
You see, she knows the reference to playoff music.
Yeah. So, and side two's got Rock and Roll Band, Let Me Take You Home Tonight. Side two's Hitch a Ride, Smoking. Some good songs on side two. It's just a great record. But I've always been struck that side one of this record is perfect. And there was nothing that sounded like that. Matter of fact, the lead guitarist, leader of the band, Tom Scholz, he made millions of dollars selling the effect pedal the effect that he used to create the Boston sound. It's called the Rockman pedal. Almost every guitar player in the world uses it. And apparently he also has a patent on, he used to work for Kodak. He went to MIT, worked for Kodak.
He's like a real smart guy.
Yeah, super smart. Made this record in his basement.
Yeah, I was gonna say he did everything in the basement. He did like all the instruments, everything. Correct?
Yeah, there was no real studio involved. The record company tried to force him to go in the studio, and then after they actually realized what they were dealing with, they said, "No, this will do." And so it's a terrific album. I won't go on about it. I think most people do own it, but it needed to be on the essential list. So we got Boston self-titled on there tonight.
It's a great album, and also with that album, every time it got a major reissue, there were changes made to that master. So there's slightly different versions. He always was tweaking this record year after year. So every time he did a remaster of it, there was something changed.
Yeah,
always trying to strive.
The Boston leader guy, he went to MIT, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he worked for Kodak.
Yeah. And then we also Brad Delp. Brad Delp was a local from where I lived in New England. He was actually in a band called Beetlejuice, which was a Beatles tribute band for years. It was huge.
He's a great singer.
Area. And unfortunately,
killed himself.
Yeah, but he lived in Atkinson, New Hampshire, in this really nice area, and he lived on Abbey Road. I don't know why they did that. Abbey Road was the road he lived on, and of course, I think he named the road because I think he owned it. Yeah. But
before you have any conversation about who's the greatest male vocalist of all time, and you could never sort that out, but you must go listen to the isolated. You can find it on YouTube. The isolated vocal track.
I've heard it.
More Than a Feeling. It is staggering how good,
unbelievable
that is.
The track of what?
The vocal isolation on More Than a Feeling.
It's just the vocal. I've heard it. It's unbelievable.
There was one part I always thought it was a guitar. It was his voice.
It's his voice, dude. Yeah. All right, dude. It's unbelievable. It's crazy, like that a human could hit
and pitch
that high.
Perfect. I mean, God, amazing.
Now, my record, I think this record I have has an even better side one. After really looking at this thing, I'm like, wow. This is another one. I think every one of my records today has sold 4 million copies globally. This one came out January 27th, 1970. This Van Morrison's Moondance. Let me read side one to you. Stoned Me. Moondance. Crazy Love. Caravan. And then that side ends with Into the Mystic.
Yeah, Into the Mystic, such a great song.
I put this probably as one of the, I don't know if it's the number one, but probably one of the best side ones ever. I mean, you just listen to this album and it's just
Maybe that's something we'll
Amazing.
do. Maybe we'll just start gathering up these terrific side ones. Like
we might have to.
yeah,
but
they mentioned Third Eye Blind. They mentioned Led Zeppelin 2. I agree with all those, and certainly Moondance side 1 is amazing.
Peaked at 29 in the Billboard 200 and reached 92 in the Billboard Hot 100. Moondance did.
Listen, don't forget Astral Weeks. He was broke when he did that album. Moondance put him on the map.
Yeah, it's like jazz. It's blend of jazz, soul, pop. I mean, it's the vocals on this are amazing, and there's great reissues of this. And that side 1 just is amazing. I don't know what you guys think of this, but I mean, and Stone Me to the first song, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Into the Mystic, probably one of the greatest songs ever.
I always have to tie in somehow to get Jimmy Buffett involved in this every single show. Zach Brown Band and Jimmy Buffett do an amazing version of Into the Mystic on it was on VH1 Crossroads. So if you ever get a chance to see that, check that out too. But definitely an essential.
Sean, I don't know which one you have there, but
this is the back to vinyl press. But there's some better presses. There's some really great presses out there.
Yeah, this one right here is so what I wanted to tell people, you don't have to go looking for an OG or even an early reissue of this album. It's very expensive. Kevin, this one I have in my hand. This is came out like 3-4 years ago. It's a Kevin Gray all analog cut. It sounds amazing.
Scott,
it's not cheap. It's like
that.
$40. Yeah.
Scott, text that to me, please.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I might be a little bit
because I don't have that. I mean, I've got the OG, but I don't have any of the new reissues. But Astral Weeks and Moondance, and of course, I love Veed and Fleece.
And also, if you can find the Van Morrison's greatest hits, the one that came out in the mid '80s, pick it up. That's a very expensive record. If you can get it if you can get it under $75, that's cheap.
Yeah. I have both 1 and 2, and they are great. I mean, if you want a greatest hits compilation of Van, volume 1 and 2 are perfect. So good.
There's an album by John Lee Hooker, Never Get Out of These Blues Alive, has John Lee Hooker and Van Morrison singing TBC.
That is a great, yes.
It's a freaking great song, great album. They actually had an album together that I think was put out by Van. I don't think I've ever listened to it, but I'm going to check that one out.
Yeah. We're basically getting to the next segment of the show. This is where we pick, we review top 5 albums of something. I know that everyone thought it was going to be me this week. I passed this week because I need to put when I want to do it. I need to. I'm not retired. So I don't have that extra time. So I need a little bit. I need a little bit more. I just say all I need is a little bit more ahead of time. So
you're not old
appropriately.
That's the.
But I still have to work. That's the only thing.
You too, Buster.
I want to really give it a fair evaluation before I do a 5 list. I just need that extra time. So this week I'm out, but again, we're looking for suggestions for me.
Well, but besides, I want to yell at Scott.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and I'd also say, we started out doing the top 5 albums. We could do top 10 tracks. We could do whatever in the top section of the show as we move this around. So we were talking before the show. We might even have a kind of unique Christmas special.
Yes,
on the top. So, all right, we're gonna do.
Joe's like, yeah.
We might have to bring Joe back to that since he was in on that.
Y'all killing me with that Christmas crap.
All right, here we go. Tom Petty.
All the lists.
I think we bring on Stacy the best Hanukkah albums too.
That's right. We're doing Petty Fire tonight.
So we got Petty. All right, Sean, you can do your magic, whatever. I can't figure out which one to do.
What am I doing?
Well, just make it be the right view. I guess this is okay.
I like that. It looks good. There we go.
All right. Yeah. Because I like to keep an eye on Jake in the bigger picture. So. So okay, this is again. Those of you who know me know that I'm a huge Petty fan.
He just has that massive box set. Look at that thing.
Both the red and the white one.
Wow.
And just a big fan. So one of my top 10 artists. So this one with Sean needing a little more time, I absolutely was not going to call Jake and ask him for a recommendation. I said, damn it, I'm doing Petty.
No, because I gave you. I'm like, all right, top 5 Sinatra albums, go.
Yeah.
Only had 175.
Yeah, I need like 3 months for that. So, all right, let's talk about my top 5 Petty albums here, and we'll start out with Echo. So Echo's in 1999, and it was produced by Rick Rubin, who, if you guys know, he's not a big technical producer. He's more of like an inspirational, go for a certain sound.
Yeah.
More of almost like a meditation guru type producer, but he's done amazing work with artists. So this is interesting that Rubin, this is the first time that Rubin showed up working with Petty, but we'll talk about another Rubin record here in a little bit. So, and it's also a time that Tom was going through his divorce. So it's another divorce record that
Personal album.
Yeah, it's a very personal album. And, but for me, there's a song on here that really should be in the top 10 Petty greatest songs. And that's Room at the Top. That song is
great
just
song.
so beautiful. And the first time I heard that song, I was hooked on this album, which maybe that liking that song got me to keep listening to the album more. And I really liked Counting on You, Free Girl Now, Swinging, Won't Last Long, and this one's for me. But to describe the sound of this album to you, it's like a little bit of Full Moon Fever type Tom Petty sound and a little bit of Damn the Torpedoes or Long After Dark. It's kind of blended. You know, I think they were saying, oh, we need a new kind of sound. And what came out was a kind of blend of the two primary Petty sounds. And it's a very interesting record with quality songs. It's not the biggest, get you pumped up mentally album, but it is beautiful, especially Room at the Top. So that's my number 5. Let's go number 4. Okay, here's an album that a lot of critics did not like this album. Even in the Petty documentary, he wasn't really speaking that highly of it, but I love it because of how deep it is on quality songs. And it is his most middle of the road rock record. You know, there's You Got Lucky has a kind of quirky keyboard kind of sound to it. But the rest of the songs are what I would call pretty much generic Midwestern sounding rock and roll. But I like that. And it has his biggest, if Tom Petty had a rock song, Change of Heart probably is the biggest rock song he ever did. And that's on this album. I love that song. But just the album cuts is what puts it here for me because, Deliver Me, Finding Out, One Story Town, We Stand a Chance, Straight in the Darkness, and The Same Old You. When I put this album on, I just like listening to this record. And, there's no song on here that I feel the same way about Room at the Top compared to Echo, but solid album. Jimmy Iovine produced this one, and he produced a lot of the early Petty records.
You know what makes Room at the Top, Scott? Mm-hmm. What I love about that song, I mean, chord-wise, playing the guitar, I play that thing on the guitar. It's an easy song to play. But you know who makes that song? Howie Epstein makes that song when he comes in on those back-end vocals. People don't realize Howie Epstein was not just a great bass player. He was an amazing singer. And a lot of those high, notes that were hit were him. And On Top of the World, that's the one thing I love about that song is when Howie comes in and kind of sings with him.
Yeah, that part's beautiful. And there's also a little guitar thing that Mike Campbell does.
It's really weird. He kind of goes with
It almost sounds like distorted harmonics or
He
something.
goes with whatever Bentmont is doing. He matches it on guitar, which is really weird.
Yeah, the song's beautiful. All right, so let's go number 3, and it's got to be this classic. Some people might have had this one a little bit higher, but this is what let's say majorly put Tom Petty on the map. So
no disagreements as of yet. No disagreements as of yet.
Somebody bookmarked this section. If you're hanging out in the summer of '79, like I was, and I didn't have this record. I was in their house, and I think their parents had the record or something, and they started playing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. That was my first exposure to Tom Petty. I didn't know a couple earlier albums, and but yeah, it has Refugee, one of my favorite Petty songs. Here Comes My Girl, Even the Losers, and Don't Do Me Like That. So the lead single was Don't Do Me Like That, and then Refugee was number 2, and it just built a lot of momentum. Big time seller. And this is what I would think is the best album of the first part of Petty, before Full Moon Fever. This is my favorite. All right, next up, Wallflowers. So this is another Rick Rubin produced record. This one came out, well, I don't want to say, but I was just listening to this tonight. Kind of my wife wasn't home, and then she came home right in the middle of me just having this cranked very loudly because I love this record. But it has some quiet songs, and it has the second half Petty sound to it, but the quality of the songs, Wildflowers acoustic like song, You Don't Know How It Feels, kind of almost like what was that song they did with Dave Stewart? Don't Come Around Here No More. Like, if they really made a really good song, that really good song is called You Don't Know How It Feels.
Were you dancing and singing when she came in?
I was singing a little bit, but I'm not a big dancer.
No dance.
But the song that was playing was this next one, which is, you understand, man, this song is a driving song, and it needs some volume. You Wreck Me. Just killer tune. Then Don't Fade Away, Cabin Down Below, and then actually my favorite song on the album is just like a mid-tempo, mournful, sorrowful song called Crawling Back to You. Just absolutely love that song. So Wildflowers has to go number 2. That's and number 1.
I mean, come on, we all know what it is.
I mean, it has to be
Full Moon Fever.
Absolutely.
We've already introduced this into the Essential Collection. It is a Jeff Lynne produced record. It is a Tom Petty solo. Matter of fact, 2 of these were Petty solo records. I think Wildflowers and Full Moon Fever. But Mike Campbell played on both of them, so it doesn't really matter to me. As long as Mike Campbell's there, I'm good. This one, Free Fallin', I Won't Back Down, Running Down a Dream, Love is a Long Road. This would be one of the ones for the greatest side 1 would be Full Moon Fever.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Facing the Crowd is on there too. And there's a good cover on the flip side of this called Feel a Whole Lot Better. It's a Birds. Birds popularized that song, but they do a good cover of it. So
he had a big part in bringing back Roger McGuinn. Like, he was a big, Birds fan. You know what I'm going to tell you right now, Scott? Every pick, spot on. I would say with Echo and The Last DJ, like I'm kind of, but because I love Top of the World so much, I think Echo number 5, perfect. I think you nailed this spot on.
Well, thank you, Jake. And I will say, just when I was pulling the information together, because I didn't know who produced every record off the top of my head. I knew Jeff Lynne and I knew Rick Rubin, but what a collection of producers: Jeff Lynne, Rick Rubin, Jimmy Iovine. Like, man, they had some top-notch folks
all Hall of Famers, man.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that Tom had the struggles that he did have, because who knows what else he could have put out because
Yeah, I mean the
he
guy
died
was
young.
always.
Died
I mean
young.
the guy was always good for a gym. Like even when the album wasn't like great, and you're like, oh, here comes another Petty song, Petty album. You hear Saving Grace and you're like, oh my gosh, that is a great song. Like he kept every record had a good song. But let's do we can talk a little bit. Let's do the honorable mention. So, Into the Great Wide Open, it just got squeezed out. I don't mean to denigrate the album, but it's like Full Moon Fever Part 2 a little bit.
See, but I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
I like. Look, hey, if it ain't broke, right?
Yeah. And then the self-titled, because you got American Girl on there. You have some good songs on there, but not one of my favorites. I just basically like the singles off of that. And I did include Hypnotic Eye, which I think is the best of the later Petty records since really Wildflowers was Hypnotic Eye. Really focused effort there. Half the album has 5 or 6 good songs on it. And then I had to throw Southern Accents on here just because this has a little different sound because Dave Stewart produced it. And but Rebels is such a beautiful Tom Petty song, and really love the harmony on that song. Don't Come Around Here No More. Wasn't the biggest fan, but I came to appreciate it a little bit more. There's another song on there. I didn't make a note about these, but anyway, that's the ones that I kind of whittled it down to those today, and then had to pick. But it really wasn't that hard to pick these Petty albums. There's a little more separation than there was with some of the other ones.
Southern Accent's my stepdad's favorite album. He actually painted the cover. He reproduced the cover on the canvas.
It's a cool cover. It's a really cool cover.
The Hypnotic Eye, it reminds me. Remember those posters that you had to get real close to? And you had to cross your eyes and look at.
Oh, it's an elephant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's there's no 1984 debacle here today, so that's good.
Yeah, I think
84 is still a debacle 7 weeks in, Sean.
7 weeks in. I think some people need to get over it. Like, I thought your acceptance would have been obtained by now. That self-titled Van Halen is the superior artistic product.
I am never budging from that. I'm gonna have T-shirts made. I'll go to the grave. 84 is number one.
Well, I mean, if you're really serious, you need to get shirts and underwear matching. Underwear.
Could do that. Yeah. I mean, that or just full on mankini. Make Scott wear it.
Yeah. All right, so those are guys in the chats. If you have any questions or comments or guest concerns,
is anybody watching?
We got 10, and we do pretty good with after the fact too, because we're competing with Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I'm only saying that because of the issues that we were having earlier.
Oh, I know.
I'm just surprised Joe is awake.
Yeah, it's past my bedtime.
Yeah,
I probably am not going
2
to
hours
sleep
ago.
Good. I'm not going to sleep good at all tonight.
Well, I mean, I guess this is while people are getting their questions in or their comments. Again, I want to thank the chat for participating. It's always fun to have you guys engaged, and we'll thank Joe for coming on. And Joe is kind of obvious because we're sitting here talking a lot of blues-based rock, right? Like the Stones and ZZ Top, and you name Aerosmith. All the albums we've presented. Well, the forefathers of that was the stuff Joe is talking about.
Yeah, ZZ Top inducted Freddie King into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there you go. So I think it is important, and some of them they really stand the test of time. If you like I said, I have Born Under a Bad Sign. I think that's a great record. I look forward to picking up the other two. I don't have, but I did stream them this week and liked them both. So thank you, Joe, for bringing your expertise. We'll definitely be calling on you again and we won't make you do all blues. You can go someplace else next time. But we kind of did put him in a whole.
I don't have many rock albums.
I want a bunch of 10-second snippets of him reading the lyrics of a song,
Oh yeah,
especially
I
some
definitely
hip
could
hop
do that.
ones would be
Some of you
Terry-
don't realize it, but Joe has actually got a very significant collection of polka records. He's a big
I do
polka
have a
guy.
couple. I do have a couple.
Polka blues.
He is called the
You can't beat
Polka
it.
King in the
Terry-
Atlanta, Georgia area.
Terry made a comment earlier I wanted to catch up on. He said something. He was disappointed that I didn't have a Muddy Waters. He was really counting on me to have a Muddy Waters. And I don't know if everybody heard it at the beginning. The reason I picked these three was because of being acceptable, easily accessible. I think that's the word I'm trying to find to the audience. And these are easy to find, and they all three sound terrific.
Yeah.
And the one Muddy Waters album that's Analog Productions put out, the Folk Singer, it's a great album, but it's not a true Muddy album and what people think about when they think about Muddy Waters.
I'd take Electric Mud. That would probably be the one
but
record
the problem is we need a really good reissue of that because it's hard to find. Now I know they've had some reissues of it, but I haven't heard any of them.
I think I just heard that one is coming, that they're going to try to do
well,
one.
I mean, because they're redoing the chest, and Cadet falls under the chest label.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm hoping they do a really good reissue of that.
Yeah.
It'd be great if they had a Mo 5 Electric Mud.
Yeah. So that's the reason why Muddy's not in here, because I was trying to stick with three albums that are good recordings and are easily accessible. So
I mean, then again, these are just three of many.
Oh,
you could make a play for Muddy. Huge. If we have Joe on again, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm sure a Howlin' Wolf album would pop up somewhere, right?
Howlin's the same way. I mean, the problem with the blues albums, especially the old ones, you run into the issue of finding really good, clean copies.
Yeah, because the originals sound pretty bad. Yeah.
And then especially some of the chests, the recordings are good, but the vinyl is crap and they don't sound good.
Well, Joe, I'm going to tell you my favorite blues record of all time, and you can't laugh because it's not like traditional blues.
Rover sings the blues.
That's number 2, Sean.
I'm Blue. Great song.
Is Robert Cray, Strong Persuader.
Yeah, it's a good album.
I know it's got a little bit of 80s sound to it, but it's such a good record.
I think Robert Cray, I think he inducted Howlin' Wolf.
Oh, did he?
I think so.
Such a good record. Yeah. That's another, you just put that record on. I mean, that might pop up again.
I could be wrong about that, but I think he did.
Joe, great picks tonight. Fantastic picks.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed being here tonight.
Joe is kind of, for me, like, kind of the blues guy.
He did. Robert Cray did induct Howlin' Wolf.
Oh.
I'm surprised Eric Clapton did not induct Freddie King, because Clapton loved Freddie King.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who did I say inducted Freddie King? I've lost my train of thought now. Who inducted Freddie King? Do y'all remember? I can't remember.
You did say Billy Gibbons did?
Yeah, ZZ Top. Top. Yeah, because they were Texas guys.
Yeah.
Texas guys.
Yeah, because Freddie was out of Gilmer, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot, but we did this on Instagram. Not only is Joe a fellow seller with us on Whatnot, he also has his own YouTube channel. So make sure you check Joe out. I'll put the link down below. We put the link in the promo to YouTube link in the promo on Instagram today when we put that out.
I think I've been doing dumb stuff on YouTube for this December will be a year. So
a year, yeah.
There you go. So, I mean, I did want to talk about, I think we're not going to have time today, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions. I don't know if anyone's watched it yet. It is on.
Sivan got it, yeah.
He got like a honorary, not really officially as the artist, but it's on Disney. It's like 4 or 5 hours long.
Oh, wow.
But I would take a look. They always have some great live performances. They also always have some mediocre live performances. But that's kind of got to do with the age of the stars, the artists. They're getting older. It's
Yes did great. Right, John Anderson sounded wonderful. Great performance there.
Salt and Pepper.
Moody Blues sounded great. There's some good ones. The Cars, unfortunately, Rick Ocasek did not sound good at all. But I mean, he died not long after that.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, like Cyndi Lauper, she's losing her voice, but there was some great moments there. Zevon, the Killers played Lawyers, Guns, and Money, I think it was.
Joe Cocker.
Wow.
And the cool thing is,
Finally,
Letterman did a great job, and I mean, I was crying with that one. But Letterman, the last performance, Zevon gave Letterman his guitar.
Soundgarden, yeah.
And Letterman brought the guitar with him, and the guitarist from the Killers used it in Warren Zevon's induction.
That's awesome.
I was a little that it's like his son and stuff didn't go up on stage to receive the award or whatever, but they just left it up to Letterman. But Letterman, you know, he did what Letterman does, and it was a great little intro.
Because Letterman also didn't he induct Pearl Jam?
Letterman?
David Letterman is a huge Pearl Jam fan. I think he did.
But if you haven't had a chance, watch it. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about it next week if you guys haven't seen it, because there was some good performances. And
did the White Stripes perform?
Meg didn't come to the.
Yeah, she couldn't handle the I don't know.
Yeah. Soundgarden.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody. I wish they could back this up a little bit. I mean, you'd rather see people get their just due when they are the age of like the White Stripes or, you know, these folks, but you know, don't wait around 50 years to put Rush in. I mean, come on, that was a no-brainer. Like, you know,
Chubby
they should have been in a long time ago.
Yeah, Chubby Checker just got.
Rush probably should have been inducted mid-90s. They should have been in.
Yeah, I mean that's the craziest thing.
People like inducted.
You know, like the Foo Fighters were fortunate enough they got inducted, still sounded good. Pearl Jam still sounded good. If Chris Cornell were still with us, they would have sounded good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's part of it. You'd like to see your artists that you love get the recognition, but at the same time, it's not the end all be all. It's an imperfect process that they have for the Hall of Fame. But you know, Stacy had a question here. Who is doing the top 5 next week? So let's do this. We have not had
Sean is.
Well, Jake, you keep putting Sean on the spot.
I want 2 weeks.
Yeah, we got to wait.
Oh, you want 2 weeks, not 1
Sean
week.
is ready. Yeah. So let's do this. What do you like? What would you like for the top 5 to be next week? Any suggestions for top 5? Because right now we don't have anything planned for the top 5. We will have something for you, but we have not. Jake and I have not talked about next week's top 5.
Top 5.
Yeah, that's the loudest ovation I ever heard at the Hall of Fame induction was for Rush.
Top 5 Willie Nelson Christmas songs.
Are you coming back to do that one, Joe?
No.
Maybe you should do something like.
Okay. Sean is going to do something. He's going to do it in a couple of weeks. We'll announce next week what it is he's actually doing. And I was bad friend this week. I did not reach out to him and kind of prod him to get started. So we'll talk a little bit this week about what he feels. I mean, guys, you got to remember, you got to feel comfortable, right? You don't want to get it on the internet, be recorded, and have it be out there forever, and not have enough time to prep and think and do.
I want my own thoughts involved, not like reading stuff and saying, "Well, this is their 5, so it's going to be." I want to really, be subjective and do like Scott does.
Yeah.
Except for that Van Halen thing, but
you guys just won't forget.
That's gonna live online forever.
That's recorded on videotape.
That might be the reason why we somehow get we end up with 250,000 because we're just gonna keep pushing the worst top 5, the biggest top 5 debacle. 3 men on the record.
Only like 9 Z1 albums. Yeah. How about the top 5 albums that deserve a quality repress? I don't know how you would.
Or you could do that. Or
I like soundtracks. I think movie soundtracks would be great because you could go so far with that.
Top 5 Billy Joel.
I think Billy Joel's. I think it's easy. I think top 5 is easy.
I think there'll be some disagreement.
I have a question.
Top 5 Linda Ronstadt albums. I could
have a
go
question
with
for y'all.
that because I think she needs more recognition than she gets. I'll do Linda Ronstadt.
Joe?
So the list, I went through the list up until tonight.
Yeah.
Of that y'all have done so far.
Yeah.
And I think I have 7 of the albums since y'all that y'all have done so far.
Mm-hmm.
So do y'all have do each of y'all have all the albums that you've done so far in your collection, each of you?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah, the only one we fell apart on was with Rio today.
Rio,
so far I only have 7 of your list.
Yeah, Rio, Sean did not have. I think last show or the show before that, I can't remember what record it was.
Jennings was amazing.
But y'all had it for me because I sold it.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was.
I think I probably have had 90%. Most of them I've had.
Yeah.
I didn't have what's the dude, the UK acoustic guy that you like?
Nick
Drake.
Nick Drake. I don't have a press of that Nick Drake album. I don't. I hate to say this because I didn't want to start a big controversy, but I don't like Weezer at all.
Oh my God!
I don't own any Weezer records.
I wanted to get
any
Dan
Weezer
Rise
records.
out of me by saying that. That's what you wanted to do.
I
You
have
like
zero
Weezer, you
Weezer
wanted to
records.
kick me off. This is absolute blasphemy.
I don't know any either.
Blasphemy.
I haven't
don't
listened
hate
to
him, but I
Weezer
just don't-
since 1995.
Yeah.
So Ron talks about Shooter Jennings. He did an amazing Zevon live album. I don't know. I can't remember if it was from Bonnaroo or something, but it's a full set only Zevon, and it's amazing. If you can find that record, I had them in my store briefly because I got a really good deal on some, but it's like a $30 record. If you can find that record, if you like Zevon, or even if you don't, Shooter Jennings did an amazing version. I forget the exact name of it, but
I'm going to bed angry tonight. After that.
Good. Sometimes it's good to go
Angered.
to bed angry.
yeah.
I've
Makes
been
you
holding
wake
that
up.
in. I've been holding that in all week. Ever since I saw that
you just
record on the
wait.
list, I was like,
It makes you refreshed. In
I
the
think it
morning
probably
when you go to
deserves
bed
it.
angry.
I don't think I hate him. I just don't really.
I
Rolling Stone
will
ranked
say
it.
that
It's
too. It
under-
deserves to be on the list. I just don't
294.
like it. Yeah.
294. There are 9 songs on that album, all bangers.
But now I think what we really need to find too is someone that is really in tune with Motown, R&B, and soul. Because I think our list currently.
Yeah, I'm
It's
pretty
a little
good.
lacking.
I'm pretty good on that. But anybody that wants to join me, but I've got a lot of into the Motown, into the R&B. I just need to put some more on the list. But you know, I guess it does explain why I couldn't stand the Rentals. If you don't like Weezer, you're certainly not going to like the
Probably not.
Rentals.
Yeah, probably
You
not.
would have never known had I told you
No,
who
I
that
picked
shark
up on the
was. You
Weezer
would have been like,
vibe.
"Man, this record sounds excellent, Jake."
When I
That's
was
a
listening to
great
the
choice.
Rentals, I didn't know anything about them.
I didn't either.
And I got a Weezer vibe. I did.
I didn't. I said I when I listened to it, Jake, I did not know it was connected to Weezer in any way. And my text message to Jake said, "Didn't Weezer do this first and better?" That was the text message.
without the knowledge. And even I said it has a Weezer vibe to it. And
Because the two of you got together, you were like, you know what? Whatever Jake said to us, absolute crap. Y'all conspired.
I didn't hate it. It's just I don't think it's polished enough to be there.
Conspiracy.
Who had the Police album?
I did.
I was telling my wife y'all's picks, and she said that Every Breath You Take song freaks me out.
It's creepy. It's meant to be creepy.
Yeah,
The video is really
sometimes
good,
I feel like
though.
somebody's
Watching
watching
him
me.
playing the stand-up bass.
it is.
That's what
kind of
the answer to that song was: if you love someone, set them free.
Yeah. Now, Jake, how much do you pay Thomas to be your cheerleader?
That's on a need-to-know basis, and right now, you don't need to know.
He probably has a poster of you on the wall. Maybe. Kind of like the George Costanza lying on the couch, but it's you.
I just got just a blind side, just pie in the face
I don't know. And he's
The Werewolves of Los Angeles. That was the name.
well,
of the
let's do the scoreboard. Number of clocks Jake bought, 1. Number of clocks Scott bought, 2.
Yeah, because you just doing that
Thomas,
to
what's
piss me
going
off.
on?
You just like, hey, how many clocks did Jake get? Jake got 1 clock. I'm gonna go ahead and just buy
No, he
another
bought
one.
his
just be
first, by
One
the
up
way.
on Jake.
I got
I
2
got 2
clocks,
clocks.
2 LPs. I am way ahead. So if he doesn't desert you, drop you immediately, have a press conference to announce it publicly, and then come over and be the president of my
God, you're
fan
just
club.
jealous.
He's out.
You were
But I
just
want 2
jealous
gibbies from Thomas.
that Tom and I are bound at the hip, dude. Bromance from day one. It's okay to be
Apparently.
jelly. It's
Apparently.
okay to be jelly.
All right. Well, I know Sean actually has a show planned, so let's get out of here. Great show. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you guys for all hanging out.
Thank y'all
Sorry
for
about
having
the
me.
It
little
was great
snafu.
until the Weezer comment. I'm ticked.
Sorry about the snafu at the beginning, but it happens.
I'll edit
We're
that
not
out
professionals.
of the video.
No,
so.
you won't. That'll be like the highlight.
Well, there's
I
there's
just
like a
never
12
really liked
second video of the other one we're going to delete. But so thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you this weekend. So we got Jake Friday, Scott Saturday, me Sunday, Joe. Who knows?
I don't know.
But we got
Sometime.
Stacy, Best Coast Music, next week's guest.
Oh, that's right.
Stacey is coming back.
Hey.
She's
Yeah.
coming back.
Let's see what comments I can make about Taylor Swift that she'll want to come at me.
See, look, Thomas is ticked. Thank you, Thomas. I
Aw.
appreciate the fact that I've got someone backing me on this. It's
Yeah.
number
Thank you,
294.
honey. Thank you. Everyone say hello to my wife, Mrs. Shark.
Mrs.
Hey.
Shack.
All right. Good night, guys.
Very nice. Have
Go
a
to
good
bed,
night.
Joe. Thank you,
Yeah, I'm
brother.
going to bed.
Joe, sleep horribly because it
I'm-
sounds like you will.
I most likely
It's
will.
an hour past his bedtime.
Well, 4:30 comes quick, man.